This video brought to you by Bodega Cooler. Consider a Bodega Cooler for your next RV, overland, or camping adventure. And LinerX, custom fit floor mats and cargo liners for your car. Check out LinerX for all of your vehicle protection needs. And Fast Wheels, a proudly Canadian alloy wheel brand covering a wide range of alloy wheel styles.
Good day, folks. Welcome back to my actual garage. So, guys, I need your help. My wife and I need your help. We are about to embark on a ridiculously insane journey of over 15,000 kilometers through Canada and then back through basically the middle of the continental US. We're going to be all over the place, but mainly sticking to the Trans-Canada Highway through Canada and through America. We're going to try to stick to Route 66. If you live anywhere along those routes and you have a place that you're okay with somebody camping overnight, let me know, because I'd be very, very grateful. Feature you in a video or whatever. But basically, we're going to be taking an electric vehicle. If you haven't actually watch this series, if you're not up to date on this series, what we're going to be doing is taking a Hyundai Ioniq 6 and towing this little camper trailer all the way across the continent to the East Coast from here in British Columbia, the West Coast, and then down into the United States and then back across the United States to the West, taking mostly Route 66, so with some detours to see some cool sights along the way. Now, it's a very, very exciting trip. But to do so, we are going to, or we have rather, really modified this trailer. So the other part of this video is I'm going to cover the trailer, just show you what we've done to it, some things that we've added. It's basically complete now, it's ready to go, and we're in the packing stage because we are leaving tomorrow morning. So I think my last video, I said my next video will be Monday, but I figured I'd throw this one in here as well. So again, if you live anywhere along the Trans-Canada Highway in Canada, or anywhere within, say, 500 miles of Route 66, let me know. I'd love to meet you. And if you have a spot on your driveway that you don't mind somebody camping for the night, let me know. All right, let's go over the trailer and show you what we've done so far. All right, we'll start at the very, very front. As you can see, I have a 7-pin to 4-pin wiring adapter because my car only has 4-pin wiring on it. I've also zip tied the wiring there because it was a little bit too long. I've replaced the battery box with a propane box. So I've got a milk cart there bolted to the frame rail there to hold on to that. And I'll show you how that's going to connect in a bit. 300 watts of solar panels on the front here, and they're basically held in by screws, bolts, and two-sided adhesive, and then they're bolted together. If you haven't already checked out the video on installing the solar panels, by all means, check that out. That'll be in the playlist as well. The playlist for this video will also be, for these videos will also be in the description. So as you can see, I've got 200 watts of solar panels on the roof as well. One of the last things we did was added the stickers to the side here. So you can see we've got the Ed's Garage logo, YouTube logo, and a QR code, so that while this trailer is driving down the road or being pulled down the road, people will be able to scan that and access the channel. Coming around to the back here, you can see we've got the same thing, and I've got the same thing on the other side as well. So this is, I didn't get any vinyls from any companies or anything, but basically what I did with this is it's actually a laser jet paper that's waterproof. So I just sprayed some 3M adhesive on it and stuck it onto the trailer. We'll see how long that lasts, I guess. All right, right next to those stickers, I have this long Velcro strip. It goes all the way down here because that is part of the shower system. So as you can see, I've got the shower here. And as a matter of fact, what we can do is we can actually take this shower, and with this little holder, I can put it onto this 3D printed thing that I made here. So these are little posts. They're at different angles. One's at 90 degrees, one's at 15 degrees, and the other one's at 30 degrees. And then, so basically the shower wand will hang on there in any one of those 3 spots. But this is for the shower curtain. So the other side of the Velcro is on the curtain. And then I also 3D printed these little eyelet thing. I don't know what you want to call these really, but basically we have a piece of PEX pipe sitting right here. And it goes into that end, makes a U, and then goes into that end. And then using a little hook here, we'll hook onto a little rope to kind of hold that up. So that'll be our shower curtain rod, and we'll be able to take showers outside here. Something really simple, we've added a LED light in here. Oh, that's got to be turned on from the inside. So this was already here, but it was just a regular halogen bulb, so we replaced that with an LED, not a big deal. You might see all these little V's all over the place. These are air tabs. They're supposed to create vortexes and reduce aerodynamic drag. If they do work, it's only saving us about 0.3 kilowatt hours of energy consumption. So not really a whole huge benefit on that. Probably work a little bit better if we were traveling at higher speeds. All right, on the back here, we can see we've got two 23-liter water tanks. So these will supplement the 30 or 40 liters that the trailer already has in it. And then you can see above that, I've got the on-demand hot water heater, which is the first place that you'll see the propane tanks. I also 3D printed a little lid for this section of the compartment here, and we also put levels here as well as on the tongue of the trailer hitch. Inside here, I've got the hosing for the propane tanks, and also a propane tank meter right here, level meter, and an adapter so that we can use it on our fire pit. So the fire pit is currently stored in the cargo area right here, and also 3D printed a lid to fit on that. Yeah, let's have a look at this instant water heater. This thing's pretty cool. We've already used it a couple times for testing purposes, but when we took our one little overnight stay here, this works really, really well. So it has a gas amount lever, so you can change how much gas it uses and also how much water it will allow through. So the slower the water goes and higher the gas level is, the hotter the water is basically. So pretty cool. And basically the hose that we got with the other hose there together will actually make it all the way to the front to that propane tank. So I never actually need to take the propane tank out of its little holder there. So that's kind of nice. On the other side here, not a whole lot going on. You can see we got more of the air tabs here. And then on this side, you can see we have the 3000 watt inverter. And right beside that, we have the 2 kilowatt battery. So that's a lithium iron phosphate battery. Those batteries are very, very safe. And then there's another lithium iron phosphate battery right there. So all of that's connected up. Wiring's all tied up. Right there you can see there's a little tiny circuit board so that if we have the trailer plugged into the inverter, when I flip the inverter on, it actually energizes this USB port, which then flips that little relay there, which is a low voltage, low power relay, which then switches the high voltage relay and basically cuts off the charging system for the batteries, because obviously you don't want to charge the batteries with the inverter that's being powered by the batteries. So that's the sort of cutoff for that. Right here is the cutoff for the solar panels, so we can quickly disconnect the solar panels from there. And then other than that, in here is just some storage. So when we're loading and unloading stuff, we're just going to need to be careful not to knock any wires. But most of the stuff will be kind of packed on that side anyway, and that's just to try to balance the weight out a bit. And then on the front here, you can see the wires coming down from the solar panels. Yeah, I know that that's tape, but guys, it's surprising how good this stuff will hold. This is Gorilla Tape, and it lasts a really long time. So honestly, I'm not worried about it. I didn't want to screw any more holes into the trailer, so that'll do the trick for now. You can see here I've got a 3D printed wire pass-through that is just caked in silicone, and then I did the same thing up top here with the other one. As you can see, where is it? Right here. So I got another one of those printed out. All right, let's check out the inside of the trailer. All right, so the inside of the trailer has gone through a significant amount of modification and add-ons. First thing we did was we added this cooktop. So this is an inverter cooktop. It'll run, an induction cooktop. It'll run just fine from that 3000 watt power inverter that we have. This will draw about 1800 watts maximum when both burners are on. And basically what I did was I just put a piano hinge on a piece of plywood, and then I got a little fold out piece of plywood that locks in to that little guy right there. So that's nice and secure and not going anywhere. But yeah, there's our cooktop now, and still enough room to pass through here. We're going to have our fridge freezer, our bodega fridge freezer sitting right here, and that will have a cord that runs under the mat and plugs into this 12-volt port right here, which I also added in. I also added some hooks right here for towels and little bumpers, so if you bonk your head into that, you're not going to end up bleeding. Also added these little wire racks, which are currently holding a bunch of our utensils. You can see I've got some wire racks over here as well, and then more hooks up in the top left corner here. Another kind of weird thing was that this trailer actually did not come with any mirrors anywhere. So what we did was we pulled this mirror off of an old dresser unit. This was sort of on the back of the dresser. There was 3 mirrors, and this was one of the sides, which is actually why the top is a little bit rounded, but it makes it look kind of neat. So basically, again, using the 3D printer, printed off 3 little holders here that's just screw right into the door. Pretty simple. Nice little elegant solution for that. Taking a look at the sink here. So one thing I needed to do is once we actually hooked up the hot water heater, we needed to redo all of the plumbing to include hot water, because when this trailer was built, it basically didn't have any hot water connections at all. It was just cold water going to the hot and cold water taps. So changed all the plumbing. I also made this this little thing here. This is actually an old cutting board that happened to fit into this sink, and this sink has actually also been replaced. So the old sink that was in here was just a tiny little thing. Now, as you can see, it's quite large. So way handier than the sink that was in there before. Yeah, just put little pieces of plywood on there that just kind of sinks in nicely. Up here you can see we've added a Bluetooth speaker. This is kind of a cool Bluetooth speaker because it holds on with magnets. So we can just kind of clip that in whenever we're using it. There we go. And when we need to charge it, I can bring it over here, sit it right here, and plug it into this new USB power point here, which we can turn on and off. And then looking down to under the sink here. So this shelf is also new. We added that, so it gives us some storage for pots and pans. And then underneath that, we've just got our garbage and our dustpan. We've also got our little washing machine. That's right. This is actually a clothes washer. Basically, this fits nicely in the sink, plugs into that USB port up there, and you can put some small articles of clothing in there. Things like, you know, shorts and maybe a t-shirt. All right. We'll flip around here, have a look at the table. So, new table. There's also a video on that as well. Check that out. But basically, this table is just a thin piece of plywood with some contact paper adhered to it. The reason the hole is there so we have something to grab when we want to lift it up. We don't necessarily have to grab it on the front here. But basically, the reason we redid this table is because the old one was really, really large, and it took up a lot of space, and it was actually really difficult to get into the seat because it would block this sort of entry point, and it also weighed a lot. It was really, really thick plywood. It was like an inch thick, surrounded by, you know, a border, and then the legs were all metal, and there was 2 fold-out legs. It was just a disaster. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they, pardon my French, when they installed that table, but it just didn't make any sense. So this one barely weighs anything. I have one leg in the center, which has this cool little hinge that I found on Amazon. To flip this up, basically you just press a button. There we go, it's flipped up. And now if we want to keep it up here, all we have to do is grab this bungee cord here. Sorry, trying to do this with one hand. And there we go. Just kind of holds onto it like that. So really, really easy. It's also hinged there and hinged there because, of course, this becomes part of the bed. So when we want to put the bed out, it comes down, and it actually extends out further as well. So the old one only came to here, which is only about 5.5 feet. And of course, I'm 6'2", so it needs to come out further. So it now comes out a little bit further, which is why you can see the cutouts here and here, because it passes perfectly in between this section here. Of course, part of the solar system and the inverter is the solar controller. This is actually equipped with 2 solar controllers. So there's one right here. This is a PWM controller. So it's got basically 2 solar panels on the roof, and they are connected in series. connected to this PWM controller. Sorry, they're connected in parallel. And I can actually go through and see, how many volts the solar panels are pulling, that sort of thing. Right next to it, I have the power for the inverter. So if I were to press that now, the lights should go out. Yep, there we go, because it's cut off the 12-volt power supply. So I'm going to turn that back off. So the reason it cuts out the 12-volt power supply, as I mentioned before, is because you don't want it charging the batteries with the batteries. So you'd create this endless loop and you'd burn through a lot of electricity very, very quickly. So the only way the lights will stay on is if you actually have the trailer plugged into the inverter when you turn that on, because then the trailer's transformer down there, the AC to DC converter, will actually power all of the DC lights in here as well. So that's what's going on there. Now, the other controller, the other solar controller for the front panels is actually mounted underneath this bench. So let me show you that real quick. There it is there. So that's a Renogy. Really, really nice battery or solar power controller. You can see I've got some solar power lines coming through here as well. I'm a little disappointed. I had all of these mounted with these little clips, and those clips are all breaking, so I'm starting to slowly replace them with these guys here. They actually last. That's kind of disappointing, eh? But anyway, yeah, so you can see the backside of the big 2 kilowatt battery and then the Renogy solar controller. Unfortunately, I don't have any way of viewing the information on this controller easily, at least not yet, but I should be able to find, there's a Bluetooth thing that you can connect to it so that you can actually view the information from your cell phone. Now, one thing this trailer doesn't have that I wish it did is air conditioning. So all it has is this very, very powerful fan up here, this ventilator fan, and it does a great job drawing the air out. But if it's boiling hot outside, it's going to be drawing more boiling hot air inside. So what we did was I built a fitting for this window that actually has 2 pipe fittings. And those pipes run to the window of my car, the Ioniq 6, so we can use the HVAC system in the Ioniq 6, which doesn't draw a lot of energy. Overnight, we might use maybe 10% of the battery power with the AC in the car cooling the trailer. So it'll suck air from the car, cooling the trailer down, and yeah, the car overnight, maybe 10-15%. Range loss from that. So I'm not really worried about the range loss due to that, but check out the video specifically on that. That'll also be part of the playlist. All right, finally, last but not least, the reason we bought this particular trailer is because it has a small toilet, bathroom sort of thing. So this is a flushable toilet. There is actually a gray water tank underneath that. As you can see, it actually is off the ground a bit. So I can't stand up in here, so it's going to be interesting, but it'll do. I did add this little shelf in here, and you can see this piece of plywood right here is actually what's partially securing the hot water heater, as is this. So these screws actually go through, and they actually attach to the hot water heater as well. So hot water heater is very safe where it is. All right, well, I think that pretty much covers all the modifications on the trailer. There is, of course, the modification to the car, adding the trailer hitch. The vehicle was not designed to tow, at least not in North America. As a matter of fact, Hyundai doesn't recommend that you tow with it. We're going to do it anyway, of course, but don't do this at home. So don't tow with your Ioniq 6. If you have an Ioniq 5, that's probably the better bet. Or if you're looking at these two vehicles, go with an Ioniq 5 for towing. I had reasons for choosing the Ioniq 6, and I do accept all the responsibility if something goes wrong, especially with the car itself. The hitch that I installed is perfectly safe. It's very strong, but who knows what will happen to the drivetrain of the vehicle. Shouldn't be anything. I mean, ultimately, it's the same drivetrain as the Ioniq 5, which is rated to tow well above what this trailer is in weight, so that shouldn't be a problem. Speaking of the weight, the trailer is approximately 850 pounds dry from factory. However, with all of these modifications, so with the solar panels, the batteries, the stuff on the back of the trailer, I'm sure we added a few hundred pounds to it. So I'm going to say the dry weight's probably about 1,100 pounds. Once we add all the water in, that'll probably add another, 150, 200 pounds. So all in all, I don't think we're going to be towing more than about, with all of our stuff packed in, I highly doubt that it's going to exceed 2,000 pounds. which should be more than capable of that. I do, of course, have range tests already with the car and the trailer as well, so please, again, check out the playlist in the description below. It'll include some of those videos as well. That's pretty much it. So again, if you're anywhere along the route, by all means, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to meet you in person. Come out and see us. Stay tuned on the channel. You'll be able to see where we're at. I'll try to do a video at least once every couple days, if not once a day. So yeah, keep an eye on the progress. I think it's going to be a real exciting, a very interesting trip. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Comment below if you have any suggestions of places to see or things to do. Again, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.